Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Craig with AI, and I'm delighted to have Dr. Brent coming to us all the way from Armenia. Good morning and good evening.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it is evening over here. It's great to be here.
Thanks for doing this. And you've got such a rich and diverse background from serving in the military to now leading in education and in AI as well. Why don't you tell us your backstory?
Sure. So, my degree, my initial bachelor's degree, is in psychology. So, I found that very interesting as far as how the mind works, and that led me more into understanding this computer interaction, right? So, how a human interacts with a computer. So that was sort of the foundational aspect of how I started with everything. From there, I ended up getting a degree, a master's degree in instructional technology because I was very interested in how technology plays a role with helping people learn. So during the time that I got my master's, I was in the military still in the National Guard, and I was working with the military as an instructor, as a certified instructor. So I was helping the military to create other instructors. So that was the main role that I had. And I found that very, very sort of fulfilling. So I liked that. And then that led me to want to pursue an even higher degree in education. So I ended up getting my PhD in education with a focus in leadership, adult learning, and online instruction. So those were sort of the original origins of everything. And then that led me to really focus in on how people start to understand things, how instructors start to learn things. I worked a lot with the Center for Teaching and Learning at the university that I was getting my PhD at. I was also working there. I dealt with a lot of media, so I was sort of an educational media consultant. And I gravitated towards the Center for Teaching and Learning. They had a lot of events. I would help them with a lot of different things there. So that helped me sort of go into that realm. And then from there, I sort of did a bunch of different things. And then I ended up here in Armenia. My wife is Armenian. I finished off my time in the military here. I worked at the embassy. And then when that time came to an end, I found out that there was a job available as a university lecturer at the American University of Armenia. So then I got a job there, and then I've been working as a lecturer here, dealing specifically with professional communication.
Okay, so professional communication, is that you mean you're training business people or on behalf of the university?
No, I have done some special presentations dealing with that, but this is a course that deals with how to be a better communicator. So
Right.
most students that are in English and communication, they go through my course. I've also done several presentations for other students that are in a special program for entrepreneurship. It's all designed to be better able to express oneself in a professional light. So that means verbal, nonverbal forms of communication,
Mm,
uh, presentation style, looking the part, all these different things that deal with good professional communication.
brilliant. And what piqued your interest around AI?
Yeah, so another interesting adventure in itself. So when I started to work at the university, I was there again just as a lecturer, and then I also became the director for research. I dealt with the research and assessment aspects, and so part of that was also being the director for the Center for Teaching and Learning. And one of the things that I got asked to do was to look at what the university was doing to help address academic misconduct. So I started to write a white paper to help the executive team, the leadership, the president, the provost. And in doing my research, I started to see, okay, these are the different things that the university is doing. These are some additional things. This is what the research says. And then as I went in deeper, I also started to find out about artificial intelligence and how students were starting to use artificial intelligence more and more. And this was at the very beginning of 2022. So I went down that rabbit hole of learning more about AI, the applications, how it works, accessibility, and it really opened up my eyes. I mean, I was always interested in AI because it was just a cool technology, but I wasn't aware it had much it had advanced and how accessible it was to students. And so more and more students were starting to use it as an aid to their learning. A lot of them didn't know how to use it properly, so they were using it inappropriately. And the research was showing that most students at that time u- using AI didn't think that it was cheating at all because it didn't fall within the categories of cheating that they had been exposed to, or they thought that it was some other new tool that sort of didn't fall within that realm. So I wrote my first article, my first journal article about this, talking about the important need for academia to embrace AI because there's so much potential with it, and also to help students and everyone understand about AI literacy so that they could use it effectively as well as ethically, which was an issue that was a prominent thing that needed to be addressed. So that was about, I would say, about 5 months before ChatGPT came out. So it was already available. Students were already using it. And then once ChatGPT really hit, then of course it was this huge opening floodgates of uh, of accessibility, and that people could access it and use it. And so when that happened, I felt sort of a real need to help academia because I was director for Center for Teaching and Learning, as well as I had just done this research article talking about it. So when it came out in November, uh, right after that, I started to really research it, chat GPT, use it, experiment with it. And I spent my entire Christmas break writing a book. So that's when I wrote my first book about ChatGPT and how it could be used in the classroom, and different aspects about, understanding how to use it properly. That came out, pushed that out as soon as possible, and then I started to see that that wasn't enough. People still needed more and more knowledge about this. So I wrote another book dealing with AI literacy specifically, is the AI literacy imperative, and that focused very much on the different aspects of AI literacy. And the thing is that in researching for that book, I found that there was all sorts of research and it was all over the place. So it's very difficult to say what is AI literacy. So I tried to create sort of a combined aspect. So I have 4 different aspects of AI literacy that I push. Working with a lot of instructors, I find that you really have to package things in a nice organized way for them to really grasp it. So that's what I was trying to do, make it simple and easy for everyone to understand and utilize. So it was broken down into awareness, having this awareness of AI, that it's all around us and it's being integrated into more and more things. So awareness is very important. Capability, meaning the capability of the AI, but also the capability of the individual. We have to develop our capabilities in order to be able to use the AI appropriately and effectively, because so many people use AI, but they don't know how to use it. So they just kind of fumble through it and they're not getting the most effect from it. So prompt engineering, that's a big aspect that falls within capability. Knowledge is a big part because we have to know and be knowledgeable about what's going on with the AI. Can I just put anything in there? Is my data safe? Is it secure? These type of things. And then another big part within knowledge is knowledge about what the AI can do, meaning that there are deep fakes, there's scams. Everyone has to have this understanding about what it can actually do. So this knowledge part is really important for everyone to develop. And then finally, critical thinking. Sometimes people accuse me of being a fanboy of AI, and I do find it very interesting, but I very much push all the time that as much as I might like AI and love AI, I see so much potential in it. We must be critical thinkers, in that we have to understand, everyone has to understand that just because we get something from the computer, that doesn't mean it's correct. There's all sorts of situations with hallucinations or it not having the proper information. And then along with that, since the AI is pre-trained, we have to be worried about and thinking about bias that might exist, ethical aspects of the information. What information are we getting because of the guardrails that the AI is implemented? So what lies beyond that? We have to understand these things in order to really have a firm understanding of what's going on with the AI. What information are we getting? What information are we not getting? So those are the important parts, as well as over-reliance. We have to teach students that they can't be over-reliant on the AI, because then they might lose skills or not be able to gain new skills. And again, it ties back to the very beginning. They have to be aware of this in order to make the right decisions.
So at that elementary level and high school level, how would teachers integrate generative AI and also have a mindset around helping the students be critical thinkers, critically using the tool and the information?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's something that, there's lots of, I won't say arguments, but lots of debates that happen. Uh, I'm on Twitter a lot as well as LinkedIn, and there's lots of discussions about, well, no, students shouldn't even be exposed to AI until much later. And the big thing to understand is that so many instructors have this false dichotomy. They think that it's an all or nothing, and it should never be an all or nothing. One of the infographics that I made it displays this continuum of AI integration into education, right? So it's this continuum in that we can go from not using it at all to just talking about it to allowing students to use it for any parts of their assessments or their assignments. So there's a huge spectrum in the middle there. So for any assignment, for any topic, the instructor is very important because they have to make this purposeful decision about when to use it, how to use it, at what level. They need to be really thinking about it and deciding, okay, you know what, we are going to use AI for this, or you know what, we're not going to use AI for this. Why? Because I want you to gain foundational knowledge about this. So maybe later on in the semester, we're going to bring in the AI to use it for this assignment in some way. So again, the different ways that it can be implemented, and there's all sorts of different possibilities. The instructor has to be making those decisions. And the big thing that I push when I talk about this is that those instructors, all of us, really need to be thinking about this because we're going to be pushed more and more. We're going to be asked more and more by the students, well, why can't I use AI for this? When I graduate and I go to my job, I'm going to be using AI anyways. So why can't I use it for this assignment? So we have to be ready to be able to explain to them, that's a great question. You will be using AI, but later on in the semester or for another assignment. Right now, I want to understand your capabilities here at this level, and then we're going to build on top of that. But the instructor needs to be ready to express that. Now, talking about maybe students that are in elementary or lower levels, again, it totally depends. But a simple way to develop a young person's capabilities in AI literacy is simply by having a discussion, by displaying something like, hey, this is what the AI says about this. Let's talk about this. Hey, here's a video. What do you notice about this video? The video is the president saying something, but I don't think the president would say that. Really? Well, this is actually a deep fake. So let's talk about this. Do you know that AI can create this? So again, that awareness, building that awareness, understanding the capabilities, and having these discussions about appropriateness. When is it appropriate to use an AI? When is it not? Whenever I give an assignment in my class now, professional communications, I give the assignment, I talk about it. We have a rubric, I show the rubric, we talk about it, and then we talk about AI. And I do this for every single assignment. I ask my students directly, I said, okay, how could somebody use AI appropriately for this assignment? And then we talk about things like, oh, well, it would probably be okay to use AI for brainstorming or maybe to get feedback. Okay, would it be appropriate to just feed this to the AI and have it do it for us? Okay, well, that might be too far. So we come to an agreement on what we can use the AI for and what we can't. I find that really helps for us to be on the same page and come to this understanding of what are we looking for? Why are we doing this? The relevancy of it, and when we want to use AI more, when we want to use it less. So again, having this discussion, I think, is a really powerful way to help students be part of the process.
I think that's really great to start with the learning intentions first, showing them the rubric and having that conversation of how we could do it. So it actually
Mhm.
sets a scene of possibility without starting, you cannot, and you cannot do this, and you cannot do that. But actually gives them
Right.
the spoke. I'm sure their minds would be thinking, wow, I can do that. So I can double down on that. I was really interested yesterday seeing the announcement from OpenAI,
Yeah.
particularly around the computer vision and just the tone of the voice of the response from AI to the person that was asking questions. It sounded so human. It was like listening to a conversation with Tony Stark and
Right.
Jarvis or Friday when they were talking. And I was just thinking of the special students that I get to work with and the teachers. In New Zealand, we have resource teachers of learning and behaviour who support students who have special learning needs who are
Mhm.
mainstreamed into normal school. And there's a specialist school in South Auckland as well. Just thinking of the possibilities of the computer vision and the ability of the AI to see and to describe and help the learning for someone who may be visually impaired. How I'm imagining that your imagination was jumping all over the place of possibilities with that step up. What did you think of the announcement yesterday?
Yeah, so this is an area that I've started to do more and more research on because I think that is definitely the future, right? And there's another prominent individual dealing with education and AI. Maybe you've heard of him, Donald Clark, and he was talking about he had this nice article here recently talking about possibilities and excitement about it, and then he posed the question: Are teachers becoming obsolete? Right, because the AI can function as this personal trainer, this
Mm,
personal teacher, personal tutor, which is really interesting. But in the end, I replied to him and I said, this is a great question that all of us should ask. But in the end, absolutely not, because the thing is that we've lived in the information age, right? We've been in this age of knowledge for quite a while now. We have books that anyone can access, right? That we have libraries everywhere. People can easily buy books now. We have the internet that has all this information there. We have YouTube that has videos of
mm,
everything. But yet students still need teachers. Students still need this social aspect for learning.
mm,
So there is something there, and this goes into aspects of motivation. This goes into aspects of social learning. So there's powerful things that we can do with the AI to enhance that, and that's what we should be focusing on. Because now we can have students that could go through and have real emotional connection with the learning process. They can practice things on their own. One of the big things that I've been pushing in my class, and it was just text based, right? But now we can do it completely audio based, was
mm,
preparing to actually interview somebody. So
mm,
one of the assignments in my class is I teach them how to actually conduct a professional interview with somebody, and then they have to go out into the real world and find somebody that's in their field, that works at a place that they would like to, in the field that they would like to work in, and they have to ask them if they could interview them. So I had people that somehow landed interviews with presidents of companies, real high level professionals that they were willing to talk to a student. So they had to go over there, meet them, talk to them, and then go through and ask a bunch of these questions. Well, that can be very stressful, very
mm,
intimidating. So what I had them do last semester is they went through an AI simulation. So I created this really great prompt. I gave them the prompt. They had to then go into the AI, put in that prompt, and then it would ask them questions, or they would have to ask questions of the CEO for some company, and they would ask them questions, and then it would evaluate them at the end on how well that they asked questions, how well that they did active listening, and the interaction. It gave them really good feedback on that. And the students really liked it. They said that it really helped them to prepare for the actual event. They wish that they could do more of that. Well, think about now how we could implement that, where it's an actual person talking, and now I have to talk too. So now we're practicing this rhetorical thing where we're using actual rhetoric, real dialogue. Now the emotional connection will be that much higher because
mm,
it will be very realistic. I'm very excited about trying that next semester and seeing what the students think, and then doing testing on my own as well. Because again, the more that we can do, the more multimodality that we can implement with this, the greater connection we'll have, the more neurological connections we have with this, and the easier it's going to be to have a real memory, a real experience about this that then we can apply in a different situation. And that's the whole idea of education, is learning something here, but then being able to apply it over here in the real world.
mm.
So very excited about the possibilities with this.
So, how do you suggest that someone in higher education, particularly, does their next assignment or their next accessible outcome in a course? How
Mhm.
could they, and if they've not allowed AI before or never tried to use it before, what would be their first step to give that a go?
Yeah, great question. So again, I go back to that infographic that I was telling you about with the
Mm,
continuum, right? So you definitely want to start small, so you don't get overwhelmed. And there's many different ways to think about the AI, because the AI could be something that helps you as the instructor to prepare for your course. It could help you to create scaffolding to help students to create additional quizzes, simulations like we talked about, games, all sorts of things. I'm actually working on a book right now about using AI to assist you as an instructional designer. So again, I love instructional designers. They're great. I've worked with a bunch of them, but not all universities, not all schools have instructional designers. So
Mm,
the idea of having now an AI tool that can be an instructional designer for us is revolutionary as far as I'm concerned, because now I can go to that AI whenever I have any type of problem, and I
mm,
can ask the AI these types of questions. One of the recent videos that I just did for my YouTube channel dealt with, now we're doing end of course evaluations, right? Many universities and different educational institutions are finishing up their semester, so they're doing end of course evaluations. Well, now you could take that end of course evaluation, take out any names or any personal information, feed that to the AI, give it all to the AI and say, hey, can you please do a content analysis for me? And
mm,
it'll go through, review it, and then present you a really good content analysis. Hey, here's the overall themes. Here are some trends that I saw with the information. Here's some issues for you to work on. Great. Now I can take that information and then feed it back to the AI. I can ask the AI, hey, act as an instructional designer at this level. Help me with my course, which is this. And here are the problems that my students noted. What can you recommend that I do to enhance my course? And it'll
mm.
give you really good information. So that already is a great way that an instructor could start to implement, right? Because maybe you get something like, oh, my students say that we need to do more hands-on learning. It's all too theoretical. There's not enough praxis. There's not enough actual implementation. Feed that to the AI. Now the AI will give you lots of recommendations for, oh, well, here's what you can do for hands-on learning. Here's a practical exercise that you could do in class. So now you could take that and actually implement. So lots of different possibilities with the AI to help an instructor go through it slowly, step by step. And the greatest powerful thing about this with the AI that so many instructors forget is when you pose a prompt and you get some information, you don't have to end there. It's a conversation. So you can continue to have that conversation. Oh, give me more ideas. Tell me how to do that step by step. Uh, how would it be different if I only have 10 students instead of 25 students?
Mm.
What if they're all female students? What if I have a couple of students that have some special needs? Or what can I do different for them? Again, the AI will help you with all these different possibilities.
How do people get hold of your book, The 9-Point Action Plan for Using Generative AI in Education?
Yeah, so that I'm really excited about that book because so I've been helping different universities, different educational institutions around the world, um, because there's lots of need for these things. I'm really excited about tomorrow. Tomorrow I have a special presentation from this major center for teaching and learning in Pakistan, right? So again, totally jumping all over the world. I've done Tunisia, Jamaica, United States, different parts of Europe, Austria, or no, Australia. So Pakistan is something very interesting to talk about. But again, so there's all these different institutions, and what I find is that a lot of them are doing things all over the place, trying different things to try and address
Mm,
the issue. So what I try to do is put things together in an actual action plan. These are things that I've noticed, again, through research as well as experiencing it myself. These are the things that need to happen. There's 9 steps in there. Some of those things can happen simultaneously, but all of those things need to be addressed because this is a major situation, a major evolution that's occurring within education. It needs to be addressed from multiple aspects in order for it to be fully addressed so that faculty come up and are able to help with this. So are the staff. The staff is important, of course, the students, but there's a full circle here that has to occur in order for us to really address the situation. So I came up with that book, the 9-Point Action Plan for integration of generative AI into education. It's available on Amazon. I've been trying to post different videos about it. I've written some articles about it, but again, this is something that I want to continually push and then have my YouTube channel serve as an additional resource to continue to help with that, because a major part of this is that all faculty need to have training, right, to develop this. But it's something where we need to have this mindset of lifelong learning, because although the technology will continue to change, it will continue to evolve, just like we talked about here with the great announcement from OpenAI, there's still foundational knowledge that everyone has to develop. That AI literacy, that will never change. that's foundational that everyone must have in order to be able to even understand how to use it effectively and ethically, like we talked about.
Mm. What's the best way for people to get hold of you if they wish to engage you for speaking and things like that?
Yeah. So again, LinkedIn. I'm heavy in LinkedIn as well as Twitter. So those would be, or X, whatever you want to call it. Those are the two best ways to actually get a hold of me. YouTube is also really important. Leave me a text on there, a comment on one of my videos, and I'll get a hold of you as well.
Fantastic. I'll make sure that your LinkedIn profile link and your Twitter X link is there as well, and also your YouTube channel. So thank you so much for your time, Dr. Brent.
Great.
Really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate this opportunity.